let's do another tier list. So last time we did sword characters. Today we're going to be doing polearm characters. We're just going to rank them on strength, how well they help out the team, and versatility. All right, let's go. Okay, first is Rosaria. I like Rosaria. I think she's fun. No, a lot of people don't really use her much. And even at C6, people don't really use her. But I know she gives some crit rate to the team. And I know that for sure she's going to be more relevant in the future with Shenhe, along with every other cryo character. And probably Electro too. But as of right now, she's okay. People compare her to Kaya a lot. I think she's actually a little better than Kaya. At least a little stronger. I'm not sure about better. Because you do have to stay within a circle for her ultimate. So I'm going to say for off-field cryo, I feel like she helps out the team quite a bit. Yeah, we're going to put her in A. Strong start. Strong start. Rosaria A. Candace. Candace has been a part of a renaissance. She's being used a lot more now for really the first time ever. She's been out for how long? How long? All right. Candace was released September 28th, 2022. 2 years and 2 months ago. 2 years and 2 months. And she is being used since Arlecchino. So for 2 years, she was pretty much irrelevant. And then all of a sudden, Arlecchino came out. And people are like, I mean, her ultimate's pretty good. Just for, Hydra application. Yeah, I mean, part of me thinks she was always pretty good. And people just didn't really look into it that much. Because her C6 is pretty baller. Like, her ult applies Hydra when you swap into the character. And it makes the on-field character do hydro damage with their normal attacks, and it increases the damage of those normal attacks. And then when you get C6, you get an extra instance of hydro application every 2.3 seconds. It's pretty good. And she runs off HP, so you really don't even have to build her for damage, really. Throw her on a Fav. She's good for the team. She's an A. I'm doing A. Okay. Kachina. Kachina is pretty bad, but she can hold the new artifact set, and that's really it. Crystallize still sucks. She's like another cute little cat girl that doesn't really do much. Is she a cat? Maybe like a dingo. Big Australian vibes from where she's from, so maybe a dingo. But she's just not very good. If it wasn't for the artifact set, she would be D. But I think because of the artifact set, it's going to be C. Yeah. It's just so much elemental damage bonus. Okay. Xiao's been one of my favorite DPSs since he came out. I think he's fucking cool. Is he good, though? That's another question. He is pretty powerful if you have the right team. I wouldn't say he needs Shenhe, but he definitely needs C6 Farazan, and that's a pain in the dick to get. Most people probably don't even have her at C6. But damage-wise, he holds up, though. Right? And he's super fun to play. Some team synergies. Definitely, you need Farazan. The last 2 slots can be like a Farina, a Bennett, Shenhe. You can't run Kazuha because there's no other element that's being swirled. Just straight up an emo damage. No, you can't run Shilonen because she doesn't affect an emo. So really just those 3. Yeah, I mean, his damage is good. And he has a few teammates to work with. Hey, you could put him with Zhongli also. We're going to go A. Alright, Mika. Mika, I haven't heard a word of since he came out. Not one word. Besides, don't use him. Okay, Mika talents. I keep kind of forgetting what he's up to. But I know he increases attack speed and physical. Okay. Yeah, at C6, he becomes usable, it looks like. Alright, so he heals, gives some attack speed, and with his C6 can increase physical damage by 40%, because he gets an extra max stack, and 60% physical crit damage. That could be good in the right teams, right? But he's a good support for a character trope that is generally bad. So what does that make him? No one really cares about attack speed. People do care about healing. So once a good other physical or superconduct support comes out, he's probably going to be really good with Farina, that support, and Eula or Fremine. And that's really going to be it. But for now, nah, D. For now. Hutou. Hutou's pretty baller. People still play her. She came out in 1 point something. It's pretty cool. She's fun to play. She's powerful. Lot of teammates. You can use her with really whatever hydro. She's pyro, so you can swirl it. There's a few artifact sets you could work with, including Marachose, which is a fun one. Yeah, because she takes away health from herself and heals herself, so she triggers it for sure. I heard she's kind of difficult to play if you want to do the jump cancel techie stuff, unless you have C1. But, I mean, if you love Hutou, get C1. But I think for all those, I'm going to say she's an A. That feels right. Raiden has a few roles. She's an interesting one. And besides the fact that she can take a sword straight out of her chonkers, she can do a lot of stuff. She can do the hyper bloom stuff, the quick bloom stuff. She can be the on-field DPS, just doing a ton of electro damage. Her burst is a crazy nuke sometimes if you build it right. Yeah, the early game descriptions were really poetic. Gathering truths unnumbered and wishes uncounted, and all through the night. Sounds like the start of a Christmas kid's story. Yeah, I mean, you build a ton of energy on her, so she's never gonna have energy problems. Yeah, and she increases elemental burst damage of the character with the skill on them. Baleful Omen. Dude, these names are cool. Yeah, so you could build her for EM for Hyper Bloom, Quick Bloom, or you could build her for damage. Pretty versatile. She could be a support or a DPS. Kind of checks all the boxes here. She's an S, the first S. Okay, Thoma. Thoma can be built to be a shielder specifically, which was how he was intended, or unintended, a Burgeon trigger. And he's kind of used exclusively that way. The same way Kuki is used for Hyper Bloom, but was never intended to be a Hyper Bloom character. Which leads me to believe that at some point, probably in the near future, a dedicated Burgeon and or Hyper Bloom trigger character will be coming out to replace both of them so they can return back to their original roles as Kuki, healer, and Thoma, shielder. In which case, we will worry about that when it happens. But for now, he's a Burgeon trigger and a shielder. His shield isn't really that strong if you build him for that. So I would advise against it. There are a lot better shielders in the game. But he does give a few interesting stats. I know he increases normal attack damage of whoever has his shield. C6. When his shield is obtained or refreshed, then normal charge and plunging attacks is increased by 15% for 6 seconds. This actually does okay on Xiao teams. I've messed around with it a little bit, and it increases Xiao's damage non-negligibly. Right, it's a good budget option. But normal and charged attacks could be helpful for Arlecchino, Ito, Risley. He could be a pseudo melt proc for Risley too, but he doesn't really apply pyro enough, so you would need another pyro character on the team. And in those situations, you would build him as a shielder. I think he's better off as Burgeon, but because of the versatility here, he feels like a B to me. Like, he's somewhat versatile and can be used for a couple of things, but that's really Like you're just not. There's better options to use him if he's going to be a shielder or a support, and you're better off just using Burgeon. And if it's just for Burgeon, you're better off doing Hyper Bloom to be Burgeon. All right, B it is. Shenhe. I believe she hasn't had a rerun banner since I was born, which means if you have her, you are at least 30 years old, and I've had a credit card at the time. But Shenhe is interesting. She is strictly a cryo support. You build her with as much attack as possible. You apply some quills to your active character. She shreds cryo and physical resistance from enemies and then buffs cryo damage to you. So, needless to say, you use her with cryo characters. Either Ayaka or Wriothesley, essentially. Although I've been messing around with Chongyun lately, and I have a C6 Chongyun, and I like it. I like what's going on here. I'm going to be using a lot more of that. So she works well with about 3 characters. So it's a very specific role, but it is pretty easy to set up. Now, I do think Cryo will be buffed soon, but for present day, I think she is... Ooh, this is tough. B or A? I don't really know. B or A? I use her for Wriothesley a lot, Chongyun. I'm gonna put her in A. Because you can use her, and then use an Anemo support to swirl the cryo application that she uses, and then use all of that to set up your cryo main DPS. Maybe bottom of A, but I still think A. Sue me. Yaoyao. I like Yaoyao. I think she's good. She can throw Deep Wood, she can heal for Farina, she can throw radishes that have thoughts and feelings and emotions and are alive. I actually use her a lot. I used her in really every Dendro reaction team as a placeholder for Nahida because I didn't have her yet. And then recently in the last banner I got Nahida, and I still kind of prefer to use Yaoyao because she heals. Like, yeah, Nahida's application's better, but I don't know. The multi-wave stuff with Nahida kind of sucks. And for Yaoyao, you could just throw some radishes every once in a while and bada bing, bada boom. You got what you need. So, I think she's going to be A. Yeah, she's a good character. Zhongli! The Geo Papa. He's a shielder. That's really it. You could build him for some nuke damage with his giant meteor, which is pretty cool, but no one does that. It's just for screenshot stuff. I do wish another character or more characters can use that petrified shit. I think that's awesome. It's just another freeze, but it turns him to stone. Awesome. So he has a Medusa rock, and his shield is beefy. So if you're mobile, S. If you're PC, S. Still, he's good. He's the best shielder. He can be used on any team, and he shreds resistances all around. Right? So you can use him on every team. And we got to show Geo some love. So we're going to keep him there. Yunjin. I wanted Yunjin to be good. I built her. I tried many teams. And there's just better options. She's not that great. Her burst costs a lot, but it increases attack speed and damage from normal attacks, only up to a certain amount of attacks. Yeah, you can crystallize her attacks to get some interruption resistance, so kinda works, but really, just anyone in normal attacks is gonna benefit a little bit. Really the same amount of benefit as Thoma's C6 increase. A little more. That's not fair of me to say. A little more, because that's kind of her main thing. But it's like it's a certain amount of attacks, and Wriothesley, Arlecchino, and Yoimiya. I'm not even sure if she's best in slot for Yoimiya teams anymore. We'll have to find out. But for them, there's kind of just better options. Like, pretty good with Wriothesley and Arlecchino. But I do think normal attackers are kind of the thing now. They're kind of the fad. So she's a little more relevant than she was before, but I think it's only fair to keep her in B because there's just better options. You can use her on a lot, but there's better options. Cyno, I wish I could say this, but I can't. He's cool as fuck. I love the Anubis thing. I've liked Egyptian mythology ever since Yu-Gi-Oh! And Anubis was my guy. And then this guy came out, and obviously I needed him. But underperform. I use him, I make him work. That's how much I like him. He doesn't work, but I make him work, and I struggle with everything. So I can say I cleared stuff with him. But he's not terrible. You have to build a ton of crit stats on him. And best artifact set right now, I believe, is Thundering Fury. Or you could do quick bloom stuff with Gilded Dreams or Flowers or what have you. But my personal favorite is Thundering Fury. Because you could spam his skill twice as often because of the cooldown. He could be used on a lot of teams, I will say. You could do a lot of Chevy stuff. You could do some Chevy Overload. You could do the Quick Bloom, the Hyper Bloom, even the Quicken and Aggravate stuff. He's okay. He's okay at all of them, right? And the damage he does himself really isn't that great. And you need a lot of 5-star stuff. This is an example of one of the teams that I would use with the Yaoyao. I would use him, Yaoyao, Fischl, and Farina. That would be the Quick Bloom setup. And it was pretty good, right? But then when you replace Yaoyao with Nahida, now you're not healing. So you need to find a way to heal with some other character or replace Farina with like Xiao or something like that. And that still works, but I kind of would rather the healer. But I'm going to say top of B or bottom of A? Bottom of A. Chevy. Chevy does one thing and does it really fucking good though. She enables Overloaded to be a team comp, which is fun. Definitely fun. It's fun to bounce little guys around the map after you hit them. And it is a reaction that you just have to build a lot of EM for, right? So usually you'll do 3 Pyro characters, including her, and then 1 Electro character who's proccing all of the overloads. And you build them on full EM. And it works pretty good. You can get some 30Ks. And there was a buff to it recently, so like 33Ks sometimes. And she heals, which is good. Really easy to play, and her C6 just gives you a ton more damage. People say she's playable at C0, and she is, but there's so many other teams that are better at C0. But at C6, she kind of pops off. So I'm gonna say A, but like top of A. Hello, you got it. Come on. Okay, 3 more. Arlecchino S. Not much to say. A motherfucker, if I ever seen. She is so easy to play. You hit the skill, you wait a little bit, you charge attack, you get hammering. Just do some normal attacks. That's it. That's it. She could be used with a lot of people. She's another character that you use Yunjin for, or even Thoma if you want, but don't. You don't really need Bennett, but it works pretty good. She can only heal herself with her burst, which is a little annoying, but a small price to pay for 100,000 ticks on normal attacks. So that's fine. And also, if you're using her with Bennett, if you do the skill and then switch into Bennett and Bennett absorbs the particles, like my Bennett's probably at like 200 ER, but from 0, it fills them right up, which is pretty nasty. So yeah, just for crazy damage and a good amount of versatility, we're going S. Emily, the perfumist, pretty good. Not a huge fan. It's not really like she enables burning, but she does a lot of damage if there is burning. Kind of it though. But the damage is up there. That's for damn sure. If you ended up getting her, I'm sure you don't regret it. But it's just kind of boring. You just build some ER, hit the burst and swap off, and she just does whatever she's gonna do. You're gonna clear. You're gonna clear a lot. But it's just kind of it's just straight up damage. Doesn't really do much else. It's a lot of damage, but not irreplaceable. Right? So if you got bored with some of the playstyle and you want to try a burning team just to switch up some characters every once in a while, then yeah, Emily's some good stuff. Say top of B. Xiangling! I never liked Xiangling. Oops. She's pretty good. Pyro application. I think once people started to figure out that Dea can also do some off-field pyro application, she kind of lost a little bit of relevancy because you need to build about 4,000 ER on her if she's the only pyro character on the team, which is fun. It's really fun to find those artifacts. But, I mean, if you're doing Child International, kinda need her. Kinda need her. If it wasn't for the ER stuff, she would be S. So I think we're gonna go A. Alright, you can use her on a lot of teams, and she's for sure the best off-field pyro, DPS, and applier that we have right now. Alright, quick scan. Yeah, definitely the best. Until Maui. I'm hoping, anyway. We'll see. Because I just don't want to use her anymore. It's just so boring. Guoba's cute, though. So does that. And it gives you a little attack bonus. Okay, let's rearrange. And here, that feels right. Yep, Arlecchino first. Best polearm character. Okay, this is what I have. This is what I'm sticking with. Hit me with some stuff that I forgot to mention or that I didn't consider. I'm sure someone's going to be mad about either Cyno being in A or Emily being in B. People seem to be passionate about those two, myself included. But I gotta be real. That's it for today. Peace. We'll do Claymores next.